Two soldiers were camped in a clearing. They were listening to the battle in the distance.
It sounds bad over there.
Another soldier growled in frustration.
I can't stand waiting here. We should be fighting.
The other soldier looked to his companion.
We've been told to watch camp.
But we should be out there fighting. They don't respect us.
Quiet down.
The first soldier looked around.
We don't know who could be watching.
The soldiers were indeed being watched. Several German soldiers crept towards the little camp. Two German soldiers crept closer to the camp. Suddenly, the other soldier looked to his companion.
Huh?
Blood spilled from the soldier's mouth, much to his companion's horror, and fell to the ground. The remaining soldier shook his head in disbelief as he stared down at his dead companion.
Nein!
He didn't notice the sickle blade coming up from his throat until it was too late. Another duo of German soldiers stalked towards the camp. Suddenly, a silenced pistol fired into a soldier, dropping him. The remaining soldier turned around in shock.
Huh?
To find the barrel of a gun pressed against his head. The elongated barrel fired. Another duo of German soldiers stalked through the woods towards the camp. They stopped as a grenade rolled down towards them. The American soldiers were surprised to hear an explosion.
Huh?
Before the American soldiers could be curious, they heard something behind them. They turned around to find two German soldiers aiming guns at them. The American soldiers raised their hands.
Wait! Don't shoot!
The German soldiers didn't seem to understand or care as they aimed their guns at the American soldiers' heads and began to pull the triggers.
Stop.
The two German soldiers turned to see Voin charging towards them. Voin wore gray Russian army fatigues with a gray Cossack hat on his head. There was a hammer and sickle in his hands. The German soldiers were about to aim their weapons at Voin, but he was on them before they could react. Voin swung his hammer, which hummed with energy, slamming it into a German soldier's ribs, sending him flying into the distance. Voin stabbed his sickle through the other German soldier's gun, and he smiled as the sickle heated up and melted the German soldier's gun, much to the German soldier's horror. Before the last German soldier could get away, the sickle went through the German soldier's neck with no resistance. Before the German soldier could process what just happened, his head slid off his shoulders and fell to the ground, with his body following. The two American soldiers stared at their savior in awe and horror.
Thank you.
The other American soldier held out his hand to the Soviet hero.
They almost got us.
Voin looked down at the soldier's hand and ignored it as he glared at the soldiers.
You are lucky you are not under my command. I would have killed you for not paying attention.
Voin turned his back on the American soldiers and walked off. The two soldiers stared at each other, confused and hurt. Let's go back a few days. The bald eagle had just been introduced to the other members of S.O.A.R. The Mastiff had just introduced himself. The bald eagle looked at Voin with a smile.
Hello, comrade.
Voin sneered.
We have not worked together. We are not comrades yet.
Voin walked out of the room, much to everyone's surprise. Voin made his way down the hallway, annoyed at his new mission. Several months earlier, Voin used to be Soviet soldier Gustav Svaznik. He started his journey like every soldier, through basic training. He excelled at climbing, swimming, firearms, piloting, land vehicle operation, watercraft, demolitions, and especially combat. News of Gustav's progress made its way up through the higher ranks, until it reached Stalin himself. Stalin and Gustav walked down a hallway together.
You have really impressed me, Gustav.
It is an honor, greatly.
Stalin put a hand up to silence Gustav.
Please, call me Josef.
Gustav nodded.
Of course, Joseph, sir.
We'll work on that.
I was told that you wanted to show me something.
Stalin smiled.
That's what I like about you. You're straight to the point.
Stalin brought Gustav to a laboratory.
This is where we strengthen our country the most.
Stalin led Gustav through the laboratory where several Soviet scientists were working on various weapons.
Did you know the Allies are forming a team?
I have not.
It's supposed to be made up of the best of each country.
Mascots.
You catch on quickly.
Does our mascot need me to be a bodyguard?
You are the mascot, comrade.
Gustav stared at his great leader in shock. Stalin brought Gustav to another part of the laboratory.
Let me show you your accessories.
Gustav was still reeling from what he was told.
Sir, I mean no disrespect, but
Stalin shot Gustav a grim look.
Then don't disrespect me.
yes, sir.
Stalin smacked.
Don't be so glum, my boy. This is a spy mission, if anything.
Gustav composed himself.
Whatever you say, sir.
Stalin opened up a box.
These will be the most important items for your costume.
Gustav stared down at the items in awe. Gustav was given a hammer.
This is the Gravitazione Molot. It will hit with 10 times the striking power of a normal hammer.
Gustav tested his new hammer on the iron wall. He smiled as one of his swings left the wall a crumpled mess. Gustav's second gift was the sickle.
This is the Teplovai Serp. This will cut through anything.
Gustav found himself facing off with a soldier with a sword. The soldier charged at him. Gustav activated the sickle and swung it. It cut through the sword with no effort as Voin continued down the hallway. He looked around before speaking into a secret radio in his wrist.
I'm in.